Merrimack TV content may no longer be available on YouTube. To continue watching our programs, please download the Merrimack TV app from your device's App Store. Programs may also be available at merrimacktv.com.
Good evening and welcome to the April 24th meeting of the Town Council. We'd like to have Scout Ryan Marone lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The council would like to extend our sincere condolences to the family and friends of Chief Charles Hall, who passed away this past week. Charlie joined the Merrimack Fire Department in 1974 and became the 5th chief of the department in 1979. Charlie served as a chief until his retirement in 1999, and if you'd kindly join us in a moment of silence, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Paul, do you have any
No, Mr. Chair, I have no announcements.
comments from the press in public? If you'd like to address the council, you can step to the mics here. Seeing none, what I'd like to do is move Scout Marone's new business agenda item number 1 to the fore because he has some work he's got to get done this evening. So if you'd like to bring your project proposal forward, that'd be great, Ryan.
We might have been a good excuse for him not to do a test tomorrow or something, no?
Up at the top. Yep. Nope.
Hello, my name is Ryan Marone. I'm a Life Scout from Boy Scout Troop 424 here in Merrimack, New Hampshire, and I'm here tonight to talk to you guys about my Eagle project. My Eagle project is to construct 3 little lending libraries in Watson Park, Veterans Park, and Abbey Griffin Park. I believe that this project is very important and beneficial to the community as it promotes reading, which is just great for everyone to have an opportunity to be able to read. I have been passionate about reading all my life, and I think it'd be great if everyone had that chance to. Here is some of the pictures that I've taken of the locations where I would like to put the library for Watson Park. So I would like to put it near the sign at the beginning or entryway to the park. Here at Veterans Park, I have 2 options. You guys could give suggestions on which one you think would be better, but I have right across from one of the baseball fields next to the bathrooms, or near one of the electrical poles near the entryway. Finally, I have Abbey Griffin Park. I would like to place the library near the walkway that comes down from the town hall. Here are my diagrams for the libraries. This is the front view, and then this is the back and bottom view. For tools with my project, we will need safety goggles, work gloves, drills, screw guns, electric sanders, table saw, paintbrushes, water jugs, and a cement mixer. Power tools will only be used by scouts over the age of 14 and adults. This is following the Boy Scout guidelines for safe tool usage. All tools will be borrowed from my troop members and my family. And right here is my cost estimate for my project. As of right now, the project in total will cost $436. This includes a contingency budget and food and water for all volunteers helping with construction. For installation and maintenance, each library will be placed in a 2-foot hole and then supported by concrete with a forming tube. The concrete that we will be using is high-strength Quirquette concrete as to ensure stability, and the concrete will be allowed to settle for 24 hours before being covered. And then all 3 libraries will be maintained by myself and the United Way nonprofit organization. Safety and logistics. All transportation of materials will be done using my family's vehicles. All volunteers helping with construction will be required to wear long pants and work boots in order to minimize injury. And as I stated before, gloves and safety glasses will be provided to all volunteers to make sure no more injuries happen. For fundraising and work days, fundraising will be done through bake sales. There will be 3 bake sales in total, and each will require 4 scouts and last for 4 hours. All baked goods will be provided by my fellow troop members and my family members. There will also be 3 work days, which also require 4 scouts and 2 adults in order to make sure no injuries occur. Work days will also be 4 hours each, and the final work day will include installation of the libraries. Lastly is my project timeline. The first part of the project is approval. I have already gotten approval from my troop committee and Parks and Rec last week, and once I get approval from the town council, I will be able to go on to the Eagle board. That leads to the next stage, which is fundraising. Fundraising will be done as previously stated through bake sales. This will cover all costs of the project, including the food and water. And fundraising should be complete in late May to early June. Finally is construction. This will begin to take place at the beginning of June as long as approval and fundraising go to plan. And this should also end in mid-June. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to consider my project, and I'll be grateful to take any questions and suggestions.
Very nice job. Thank you, Ryan.
Nice job.
Nancy?
Sorry. What a great idea, Ryan. Thank you for coming and sharing that with us. Can you tell us, I noticed you and the United Way will be checking into, how often will you check to see that there are books in there?
Well, I was thinking every couple months or so, like every 2 months. And actually, all the books that that are going to be like in there at the start, those will be provided by me and my troop members. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier.
Oh, that's great. No, great idea. Thank you.
Jennifer?
Thank you, Ryan. Good presentation. I'm a big literacy advocate, so I love this project. Question for you, have you talked to the town library at all? I know Yvette's here, the director, and you might get some advice on maintaining those since they stock a couple of these around town.
All right, thank you. I had not considered that.
Peter and then Tom.
Hey, Ryan. I'm not a big reader, but I think it's a great project.
Thank you.
I prefer the books, the audiobooks. But anyways, where are your 3 bake sales going to be? Do you know locations yet?
I am not entirely sure where those are going to be. I was planning on doing them at the church across the street, but I have not figured that out yet.
Peter?
Ryan, a great idea. I like it a lot. I was looking at you were talking to us about Vets Park and its location. And I'm just wondering, would you be better served if you did it at Kids Cove rather than at Vets Park? Because I don't see a lot of activity.
That's Casparius.
There is one at Kids Cove.
Oh, there is
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I know.
Thank you for the suggestion, though.
Okay, thanks. Good job.
Go ahead, Nancy.
No, great.
Had somebody suggested to you to really focus on the depth you go? I know you said 2 feet, but 2 feet is the maximum limit at Watson Park.
That's what I was just going to say. If you, you should work with Don Tuama, our DPW department, or our Highway Division, especially at Watson Park. They have some, you might have to go like 20 inches instead of 24, because we can't disturb the ground more than 2 feet there. And the other thing is that, before you start digging, make sure you call Dig Safe, even though it's on private property, especially if near Vets Park, if you're thinking of being near that telephone pole, just to be on the safe side. You don't want somebody to hit a line and be, have no hair like me.
Concerning the digging, Parks and Rec said they would take care of calling DigSafe, and actually they would do the digging as well. So,
Oh, okay.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll make sure to follow the guidelines for all the
Nope,
parks.
Wonderful. Yeah. Excellent.
I don't have any questions, but I want to compliment you on your presentation
Thank you.
and wish you good luck.
All right. So what's the pleasure of the council?
I would like to make a motion, unless, Jen, do you want to do it? I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposal by... Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposal by Boy Scout Ryan Maroney from Troop 424 for the installation of 3 Little Free Lending Libraries to be placed in town parks at Abbey Griffin, Veterans Park, and Watson Park.
Second.
A motion by Nancy Harrington, seconded by Jennifer. Paul?
Ryan asked for some advice, and he didn't get it for Vets Park, so he was wondering whether the council would like that.
Just not next to the toilet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
That's the
too.
other side.
I would agree.
So by the telephone pole is what they're saying.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for reminding us.
Although it would be interesting near the toilets, though. Strategically.
So is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 600. Thank you, Ryan. We appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you.
And yes, no, there were 2 things that I forgot in a rush to get Scout Ryan Maroon into his seat, and that was Mackenzie Murphy has been excused from this evening's meeting, and we have upcoming meetings, regular meetings of the town council on May 8th, May 22nd, and June 12th, all at 7 p.m. here in the Matthew Thornton Room. And again, thank you for your presentation, and if anything has to be signed from us, Paul can take care of that.
Thank you, guys.
All righty.
No excuse.
All right, we have no recognitions, resignations, or retirements, but the next on the agenda is reorganization. So, per usual, nobody has said anything about what anybody would like to do. So, Nancy?
I would like to move that we maintain leadership as it is, with you as chair and,
We should
Council-
do one at a time.
okay. I would like to nominate Councilor Rothaus as chair.
Are there any further nominations?
I would like to second. Oh, no, that's right. We don't do it that way.
So,
We nominate and then we vote.
Yeah.
We don't have to do a second.
if there's no further nominations, call the question. All those in favor of the, it's awkward for me. It just really is.
Let's hear it. Come on.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? I'll abstain from my vote, just so I can't blame myself. Thank you very much, Nancy. I always say I enjoy doing it. I don't mind doing it. And as long as I have Nancy as pretty much the co-chair, she's always helpful. And so I'd like to nominate Nancy as vice chair for the next year.
Second.
I'll second.
So if there's no further nominations, I'll call the questions on that. All those in favor of Nancy as vice chair or co-chair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained?
I'll abstain as well.
5-0-1.
It is
Can't blame
very
yourself
awkward.
that way. So, well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
We
thank you for
appreciate
your
it.
confidence.
And all the work that Nancy does is a heavy lift all the time.
We're a good pair.
I appreciate it.
He does all the talking and all that. That's okay.
I can get kind of lengthy sometimes. All right, appointments, our only appointment this evening is to meet with committee chair Tracy McGraw of the Parks and Rec Committee. Per town charter, Article 6, Section 6, at least annually, there should be a review with the Parks and Rec Committee. The agenda is to highlight the committee's significant actions, current projects, anticipated actions, and to raise any concerns the council should know or could act upon. Good evening.
Yes, Grace would have come out and yelled at me. Yes, come over here, sit down. So, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us here. My name is Tracy McGraw, and I am the chairperson of the Merrimack Parks and Recreations Committee. And Rick, you want to introduce
I'm Rick
yourself?
Grenier. I'm the vice chair.
I talked him into coming up with me today, so thank you. Mr. McCallie, I wanted to say one thing. Thank you very much. You gave me the opportunity to be able to talk about things tonight without having to check things off before I went on my list.
That's it.
So I appreciate that.
I got my list here to cross off.
It's your turn. We'll switch next year. All right. So for everyone who's new here and for everyone back there, the Merrimack Parks and Recreation Committee serves as an advisory board to the town manager and the town council through Parks and Recs Department, and it recommends the utilization of all town recreation property and formulates a town recreation master plan. So our membership right now includes Mackenzie Murphy, who's our town council representative, which, if I might say right now, has already told me that she would very much like to stay our representative. Just, that's my 2 cents for when you get to that point in the rest of the agenda.
She's not here, so she might have a big
She
one,
might.
yeah.
Well, can I put my vote in for her? Nancy can take care of that. All right. So let me get back into here. We have Matt Kasparius as our Parks and Recs director. Rick Grenier is our co-chair. And Michelle Creswell, our secretary. Laura James, who used to be chair, is a member. Lori Rothaus, I'm not sure if she's coming back. I know that there's some assignments that have to be done with the school board, and so she wasn't sure if she was coming back, but it'll be either Lori or someone else from the school board that'll come back to us. Maureen Hall for the Senior Citizens Group. Matthew Brown is our student representative, and he's in the high school. And we have members also of Phil Prisbazewski with the Lions Club, Josh Toms, Heather Fairbanks, who's also stepped up to help out a little bit more with the town dog park, and a new member, Brian Landrigan. Brian is actually going to be starting a program. He's working with Matt, and I expect the town council will definitely want to participate in this. But it's basically a walking program that he wants to create where he walks a certain amount of steps over a period of time, or a certain amount of miles that he creates over a period of time. Okay, we got one thumbs up over here. Something that he brought to us that he and his wife were doing, it has to be completed within a certain set of months or within a year. So we're going to have more information on that as it comes out, and literally just going to be a walking club. We also have a camp director and an after-school program director, which is Becca McGee, who started fairly recently, and this town council has made comments before about the energy that comes out of Parks and Recs. This is usually initiated by Matt. She exudes that same energy. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. She also helps with the after-school program with picking up the kids from Thornton's Ferry as well as Mastrocola to take them back to Wasserman. We do have a member position open right now. I believe it's an alternate position. And we might have one more member position open by June. So before I get started on Parks and Recs, for those who know about this, and I know the town council knows about this, but for people in the gallery and for people who are watching from home, I want to make sure that this comes out. But the Parks and Recs Committee has been honored to have Matthew Kasparius not only as our director for such a long time and continuing to be our director, but he was awarded the highest honor for the Recreation and Parks of New Hampshire, and it's called the Wink Tapley Award. And Wink Tapley was actually one of the first who was named. It started out in 1946 in Bristol, New Hampshire, and he became one of the presidents, one of the earliest presidents of the Parks and Recs. It was called something different back then. It was like a recreation society. Wink stood for exceptional professionalism, leadership, facility development, and management in his community, high character, dedication to the Parks and Recreation's profession, humility, and consideration and respect. Matt won that award this year, and I just wanted to make sure that he got noticed tonight. So I know that you made a comment about it last time, so I just want to make sure it's on there. So on to projects. So we have the waterfront at Wasserman is almost finished. We have a little bit of issue. It kind of goes with the budget. We are trying to get the ADA portion of the waterfront done, and we're going to file for an extension and get that done hopefully within the next year or two to make it a little bit easier for ADA people who need that extra assistance to be able to get down to the water. So keep watching, it's coming, hopefully. Tennis courts, they're also set up for pickleball courts. They're in wonderful condition. They were used a lot last year. They're beautifully painted now. Everything is ready to go. For anybody who wants to go and use it, just make sure that you use the sign-up sheet, and it's really just to make sure that there's no overlap and you have a time to come and nobody's trying to step over everyone else. For Watson Park, we actually had some cold days this past year. It was kind of impressive. We were able to have the ice skating rink open for a period of time. So the other side of Watson Park is you can rent the pavilion, but it's not a cost for the rental for the pavilion, but we ask that you register for it so that once again, you have your time slot filled in. As far as the dog park, we are getting more and more people from not just Merrimack itself, but also from the local communities. And as you know, one of the first grants that we received, forgive me for not remembering, excuse me? Thank you. Part of that, getting that grant was opening this up not just to Merrimack residents, but to other local residents. We've had a lot of people coming in, believe it or not, from northern Massachusetts. We've had people come up here from Cambridge where they wanted to come up to New Hampshire and wanted to be able to take their dog out. So it's really become a very well-known place to be and also highly regarded. I would ask that people just remember to pick up the presents, that's all. For community events, for last year, what we tend to do on a regular basis, we had our winter carnival. Unfortunately, in 2024, there was no snow, so it was more like a summer carnival with cold air. We had our Easter egg hunt, summer concert series that was over here at Abbey Griffin, 4th of July festivities, which had the concert and the fireworks. There was actually a pickleball tournament last year, National Night Out, Natticook Challenge, which was also an obstacle course, and a Halloween party, the turkey scavenger hunt, the Holiday Light Tour, which was a collection of addresses from the local communities. You have a way to plug in these addresses so you can actually create a path for you to take to go look at people's Christmas lights at their homes, and people register for that online. Blood drive, there was school vacation camp. There were lots of programs that are for both adults and children. And then, of course, the last event usually of the season is the holiday parade and tree lighting and caroling that took place the first weekend of December. So for all of these events, we have vendors that come out, but we also have volunteers that come out. And we have some local community clubs that come out and assist us. And want to thank all of those volunteers, because without volunteers, we would not be able to do these events. But that also includes Merrimack Friends and Family that comes out and feeds us a lot of sugar. And we have the Lions Club that comes out with all of the things that they do for us, as well as other, like I said, other local community leaders that come out and help. And then we have vendors that come from all around that do crafts with the kids or have things to give out and just to make it a fun time for them to come out for these parties. We have our rentals at the park where we can rent out the hall. The rent is not expensive, but it goes to help defray some of the costs for water and electric and basically the use of it. The rentals are free, I said, for Watson Park, but also for Abbey Griffith. You got to make sure that there's nothing else going on that night. You don't have to pay for anything, but we also make sure that people aren't on top of each other. Community garden will be open again this year, so contact the Parks and Recs office if you want to have get a plot of land to plant your garden. before they run out. So for 2024, we had Nora Campbell, who actually, she's from Troop 10731. She renovated the theater building in Wasserman. And in doing so, she had a cleanup inside, she updated the building, but then created wings on either side of the stage for dressing rooms. And if you haven't had a chance, if the theater is ever open, if you were there for the egg hunt, we were in the theater. It's pretty amazing what she did with this. And also downstairs in the basement area was also some refurbishing. Peyton Connolly from Troop 401 also created a shelter inside the large side of the dog park. And it's more of like a lean-to shelter. I know you guys have seen it, but you've probably seen 1,000 other things since then. He and his family and some of his troop members completed that as well. And it has been absolutely wonderful with the weather that we get, but also keeping the people out of the sun, and it doesn't block the dogs from running when they're having their zoomies. So that works out well. As far as our committees go, we have the senior citizens that take trips everywhere, especially to Encore and Foxwoods. MYA has, and if I miss anything, please by all means, because Rick is our MYA representative. Their sports registrations all remain high. We are, obviously, as always, still looking for additional fields so that more children in the town are allowed to participate in these sports, and we are not getting hung up on not having enough fields. So we're keeping our eyes open, and we'll work on the budget part too. As far as our student representative, Matthew comes in and tells us what's going on at the high school, more from the student side of things, gives us an idea of what achievements, what awards the kids are getting through all the different types of activities that they're doing. And just a shout out, the most recent one is the Merrimack High School Robotics Club. It's called Chop Shop 166. They made it to Worlds in Houston this past week, came back on Sunday night at god-awful 2 a.m. in the morning after they won their first division in the Curie division, and then their alliance went to the Epstein division, and they made it to the quarterfinals before they were knocked out. This is an amazing feat for these kids, and it's a wonderful program to be a part of. So if anybody's interested in being a mentor, or if anyone who's listening who's in high school, if you want to join, go find one of these kids in Chop Shop, and they'll recruit you. School board gives us a good idea of what's going on behind the scenes and what the discussions are with regards to the budget, and kind of keeps us apprised as best as they can. Lori's been doing a great job with that this year, but I also know that there's been a lot going on, and it's been difficult to really kind of sum things up in a short period of time. But it's good to have that insight, to have an idea of what's really going on everywhere. And then, of course, Mackenzie comes in from town council and gives us all the dirt on the town council. Sorry.
The dirt. Is it all about you, Mr. Chair?
Well, that's why she's not here right now. So for the upcoming year, we got lucky. So 2025, we just had our Easter, or our Winter Carnival in February. We bumped it up 2 weeks. It was Matt's great idea. It was a perfect thing because we had snow. We had snow the night before, and thanks to DPW, we had roads we could actually drive on. And so we had a cardboard sled race down the side hill that's over by where the playground is. And all kinds of cardboard sleds and box cars, and it was absolutely adorable. And most of them were kids. Not all of them, but most of them were kids. We just had the Easter egg hunt, and that was on 4/12. It started out snowy, then it got to sleety, and then it got to rainy, but the kids still had a great time. All they wanted to do was go out and pick up their eggs. We had about 300 people this year. It was a little wet. We moved it, which was another great idea by Matt. So all of our vendors were inside the theater, which has a concrete floor, which is easier to clean when it's wet. And then we had the eggs spread out close to the water's edge in separate sections based on age. The kids had a great time. There was a lot of fun, and kids don't care about weather. They really don't. We're going to be doing the summer concert series again, so there'll be some more music this year. There'll be more information to come. It'll be on the Merrimack Parks and Recreation's webpage. Movies, we haven't done that, and I don't think it's been 2 years. It might have just been last year that we didn't do the movies. We have come up with an idea. We're going to fish that out just a little bit more, and then just keep your eyes open on the webpage for the Merrimack Parks and Recs. But we do have an idea that'll mix with a few other things. So the next event that's coming up, of course, is the 4th of July Parade. And that'll have the same 4th of July plan. It'll have the sparkler race, the pancake breakfast, and I know that the Rotary Club is involved in that as well. The after-school program, now here's something new that we have. Right now, we're doing Thornton's Ferry and we're doing Mashacola. A lot of Reed's parents have asked about getting in on this, but of course, given the location of Reed's Ferry, and when the kids get out of school, and the fact that the teachers can't stay there and wait with them, made it very difficult to plan to get the Reed's Ferry kids over to Wasserman and have it be with one bus or whatever. Plus, there's also the cost of the bus, which we have to raise by basically the cost of the kids. However, it looks like we're getting a lot more interest. So there's a survey out there, and the survey, my recollection, Matt can correct me, but the survey is open until April 30th, and that's really just to get an idea of, who's interested, what you're interested, what your thoughts are. I haven't gone out to see the survey because I've got the big vote here. I say, yes, this is a great idea, and the kids should be able to be included from Reed's Ferry. Let's see. There was another Eagle Scout project. So there's a place down by Wasserman, by Natticook Lake, where you can have a canoe, a kayak, or a paddleboard. There's a place where you can tie it up, chain it up. That was also created by an Eagle Scout project last year, or the year before last. There's a small fee, but that's just for the maintenance of it. Camp. So, okay.
We haven't approved that yet.
Okay, well, that's an idea that we have going on right now. That's part of our hopes and dreams. We haven't approved which part.
Sorry.
That's okay. I don't mind. We pull up a third chair.
I was getting confused looks up there, so I gotta let people know.
Okay. Well, you were reading the confused look, so I'm glad for that. Natticook Day Camp is doing fantastic. We were, if I recall from the last meeting, Matt will correct me, but we were we're looking to be higher than we were as far as registrations than last year. There's still a few openings. If anybody wants to check out the day camp, they need to just contact Matt over at the Parks and Recs office and see what's open. We do need, for those who are listening and those who are here, we do need some camp counselors, a lifeguard, and a summer maintenance employee, all of which have to be at least 18 years old. So again, contact Matt at the camp office. And this year, my understanding is that we're going to have swimming lessons. Yes, we are finally going back to having swimming lessons. I wanted to also mention that the Rotary Club is working on a camp cabin. They may be finished by now, but they're working on a camp cabin down by the waterfront that they were renovating so that there's a changing area. And let's see, got that. I knew they were trying to get it done, and I think they came in on that rainy day. Yes. As far as everything else is concerned, it's going on the same as usual, but we haven't gotten there yet, so I don't want to take away from next year. But one thing I did want to do is I wanted to make sure that we thanked not just the volunteers that we've mentioned before and the Lions Club, but DPW comes out and they take good care of us. They make sure that our roads are cleared when we need to have events, and they've done a lot of work in the past. They've given us, anytime they've had some extra mulch or dirt, they've helped out over at the dog park so we can build things up, so we can save the dog park grounds. And I wanted to make sure that they understand how much we appreciate everything that they do for us. There's also Mosquito Joe, which is a local company that comes out and actually sprays both sides of the dog park. And they spray for ticks and mosquitoes, and they're using a formula that's actually safe for dogs that just has to sit there for half an hour. And it's one of those, it's flowers or something. I don't know what the formula is, but it's not the chemicals that are dangerous. Parks and Recs also, they help out with the dog park as far as helping us keep the weeds at bay, which is no easy task. I know that for MYA, they had a new sponsor this year. I'm not sure if it's for a full year or not, but Fimble Garage Door came in as an MYA sponsor. And then as far as fields go for MYA, the Elbit fields and the Katanga fields have, they've offered those for us to be able to play on, for MYA to be able to play on. And so we are grateful for them because that's been year after year, and that's helped us get our kids out on the fields. The Lions Club has been a tremendous sponsor for Parks and Recreations as far as different projects that we've had going on, donations to certain things, and also helping us with cleanup and so forth. And the Rotary Club, Merrimack Friends and Family, are also two of our local leadership clubs that are helping in many ways. Merrimack Friends and Family, the money that they get, of course, we all know, the food, the money that they get from the food helps out a lot. But there are volunteers from the community, there are volunteers from churches, there are volunteers from groups. And like I said before, we wouldn't be able to get all this done if it wasn't for the fact that these people came out and they helped us out, gave up their time to do it. I also want to thank the committee. Our committee comes out once a month. They meet here. We've been almost at, aside from 1 month, where we had 4, we've been well beyond quorum. And they're taking their time to come out and listen and offer suggestions and be there for us to make sure that we've got our volunteers and, well, Parks and Recs is getting taken care of and the community's getting taken care of. So I want to thank them. I want to thank Matt and James. Matt is our director, obviously, and James is our program coordinator, because without them, we wouldn't be. The kids would have nothing to do. There'd be nothing left. And one person can't do that job. And the ideas that they come up with and the creativity that they bring and the energy that Matt brings, it's infectious. And kids want to be a part of it. Parents want their kids to be a part of it. You can't get that everywhere, and we've got it here in Merrimack. So without them, I don't know where we would be. But last but not least, I want to thank the town council for listening to us, for helping us out, for being there, for being supportive of the projects that we want to do, for keeping us in check when we can't do the projects we want to do right away. But they are on our hopes and dreams list. I just want you to know, we're not giving up. But we do want to thank you for all the work that you do to help us. So, that being said, do you have any questions for us?
I just want to say thank you to both of you and all the members of the committee. I know it's not just a once a month meeting. I see you guys at all of the events. You put in a lot of hours of your own time volunteering, so thanks for all you do.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Nancy?
Ditto, and again, congratulations to Matt. We know how lucky we are to have Matt.
Yes.
Well-deserved honor and recognition for a job that's, he's a great role model for leadership, and he does a lot for our town. And I think anybody that is involved in anything to do with Parks and Rec knows that. So thank you, Matt.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything further?
Did she cover everything, Paul?
Did I?
Who's checking up over there?
I'm waiting to see if there's any check marks left that I missed.
Tracy, Rick, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thanks for all you and your committee do. All right. We have no public hearings, legislative updates from our delegations.
I gotta get this up and running.
Did you get anything in an email, Paul?
I didn't get an email, but I do have something for legislative.
Okay, well, do you want to do that, and I can have Nancy for, oh.
Yes, we did not have session today. Today's Thursday, right? Yes, today's Thursday. But I just wanted an update, something that I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago. I want to thank Chief Brian Levesque and our former Chief Denise Roy for coming to us. We had a HB 602 was a bill that I wrote, and after Chief Levesque had reached out to me to talk about a U-Impact program, is an online victim impact panel program for persons convicted of DUI. And that bill, I wrote it as a bill. It went through the House. We passed it on consent out of my committee, Criminal Justice and Public Safety. It passed through the House. And we had that Senate hearing on it last Thursday. And Chief Roy flew up as well to present. And just the update is it was passed unanimously, and it will go on the consent calendar for maybe next Thursday for the Senate to vote on. And I don't see that there should be any problems. It's sailed its way thus far, and probably didn't hurt that the chair of the committee, the Senate Committee, Judiciary, and I were both recently put on the Governor's Special Task Force on Highway Safety, and one of her goals was to address the things that this will target. So I think that it will have support all the way through, and with any luck should become law. So that's it.
Thank you, Nancy.
Sure.
Just two. House Bill 66, which was the right to know law, passed the Senate, moved on to the House. House Committee today ITL'd it 5-0-0, which is a good thing. It's funny because our police chief was going up there to testify, and he said, "Hey, I'm going up." I said, "Hey, here you go." I got a right to know request yesterday from a business that wants me to do their job for them. They want me to fill up their database with who my vendors are, what we buy, how much we spend, and everything else. So I'm grateful that the House Committee ITL'd this bill.
5-0, you sure it wasn't a Senate committee?
No, that's what I got told, 5-0-0 today. It was a House Committee.
Oh, okay, it's
Yeah.
normally,
It's usually more, but
Yeah.
that's what I was told, 5-0-0.
okay, no,
So-
wonderful.
Yeah, and then I also still keeping an eye on Senate Bill 297, which is related to health trust and the insurance pools. They had their hearing yesterday. Health trust was up there for quite a while, talking, being asked questions. I do not know if any, I didn't check before I got here, but hoping that the House will see its way to at least table that to continue discussions to see what the impact will be on communities throughout the state. So those are the two legislative updates that I have.
Thank you, Paul. Anybody have any questions of Nancy or Paul? Then we'll.
Sorry, it was the Senate. Sorry, it went to the Senate Judiciary, 5-0-0.
It wasn't completely
Yeah,
important.
no.
It just
That-
seemed like a small
It's House
thing.
Bill 66, so I'm thinking it's in the Senate. I'm sorry.
Okay, nope.
It's been a long day.
Well, since you're on a roll, if you would like, you can have your town manager's report.
Sure. Next House Hazardous Waste Collection Day is May 10th from 8 a.m. to 12 noon at 289 South Street in Milford this time. So the hazardous waste is moving around the southern part of the state. I want to thank Merrimack Friends and Family for their Easter basket donations. They helped assist 10 families with a total of 22 Easter baskets. So once again, Merrimack Friends and Family steps up to the plate and really knocked it out this year again with the Easter baskets. And finally, I want to thank everybody and congratulate everybody who received the awards last week for excellence in the workplace put on by the Rotary. There are a number of local businesses that were business people that were given the award, and it was a nice event to attend to see everybody in the community being honored. And it's wild that some were honored by coworkers, some were honored by their children, which was nice to see that their children stepped up and wanted to recognize their dad for what he does for the community. And it was a very nice event put on. It was very, very well attended. And the Rotary does a great job with that every year.
Thank you, Paul.
And it should be noted, Paul, that you received one of them. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Consent agenda. It's on the consent agenda is the consideration of changes to Chapter 178, taxation, which is Article 2, elderly tax exemptions for the Merrimack Town Code. What's the pleasure of the council?
I make a motion to move the consent agenda.
Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Tom.
The only thing I would say, effective April 1st, 25. April 1st, 2025.
That's good with you, Tom? All right. All those in favor of the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained, 600. All right, old business, Paul's going to present to us his recommended adjustments to the budget so we can get to the magic number of the default budget.
Good evening. I would like to start by saying that I did receive a couple of emails, a couple of letters, actually one letter, which I handed out to the council this week. I received another letter a previous week, and then I received an email basically asking us to do our best with what was given to us. As you know, on April 8th, the citizens of Merrimack spoke. While disappointing, they voted in a default budget. And by looking at our default budget, I wanted to bring up a couple of things first. Here we go. The average home in Merrimack in 2024 was $370,300. When I say average home, that includes mobile homes and condos. So it's a wide range of every residential property in town. The tax bill for that home was $7,662. The municipal portion, which was $4.29, was $1,589. For your $1,589 for the year, you get general government, assessing, fire, police, communications, code enforcement, public works administration, highway, solid waste, parks and rec, library, equipment maintenance, building grounds, community development, tax collector, welfare, debt services, and deposits into capital reserve funds for the general fund. All for that $1,589. If you look at that a little bit further, if you look at police, it's $364.77. Basically, $1 a day of that tax bill goes towards the police department. A little more for fire, a little more for highway. There's been a lot of talk this budget season about a $500,000 home. So I did the same calculation. So if you look at it, the percentages stay the same in the budget. It's $2,145. Police, around $500. Fire's around $500. So a little more than roughly $1.50 a day goes towards your police and fire department for your budget. Knowing that numbers can be confusing and you get blurred, I did a nice little pie chart. And there's the pie circle. And as you can see, 44%, almost 45% of the money of your tax bill goes to your police and fire department. Highway division is the next largest. But there's a piece of the pie for everybody. All those divisions, there's a piece of the pie. And that's how it's broken out for your tax rate in 2024. So people understand that a $1,589 tax bill, if for a $370,000 home, town collects $1,589. And this is how it's broken out. I thought that was interesting. Now to the default budget. Last year, 2024-25, the general town appropriations was $38,484,241. We had 3 union contracts voted in. So last year's proposal to start with our default calculations for 2025-26 was $38,922,819. We've also had 6 union contracts in the town of Merrimack that were previously voted in by the residents, and those with the cost associated with those 6 union contracts. So we add that to $38,922,819. We had a health insurance savings associated with some of those union members. We had a New Hampshire retirement savings associated with those unions. Workers' comp increase associated with those unions. We have a contract for solid waste tipping fees. We talked about that during the budget. That's $153,000, almost $154,000 that was added. We had a one-time capital expenditure, which was withdrawn, and then we had an interest. We have about roughly $1.3 million increase in debt services, and that's related to the wastewater treatment bond that we have for the new treatment plant. That was $32 million. We have to start paying the bill next year. Total was $40,808,242. The proposed council budget for 2025-26 was $42,863,616. The magic number for everybody to remember tonight is $2,055,374. So those are what the cuts from the town council budget that was presented that we need to make in order to get to the default budget of $40,808,242. I'm breaking it out into 4 categories: self-supporting funds, capital projects, personal service costs, and all other costs. As you can see, between self-supporting funds, capital projects of over $1 million, and personnel costs are the bulk of the $2 million that is made up. And all other costs is everything else that doesn't fall into capital or personal service costs. For self-supporting funds, wastewater treatment facility, $292,604 was a flatline budget for them from 2024-25 to 2025-26. In looking how to come up with some of the adjustments, we looked at part-time wages. I want to say this throughout the whole discussion. I couldn't have done this without the support of my department heads. We met over 2 to 3 days. Every one of my department heads came up with suggestions to help make these cuts. We all tried to preserve full-time jobs. That was one of our goals, to try to preserve as many full-time jobs as possible. We looked at positions that were vacant. We looked at part-time positions that haven't been filled or probably aren't filled since we've been advertising since December, January, February, March. We haven't got a lot of applications. We looked at overtime. We looked at all other costs. We looked at what is really needed. And remember, our 2025-26, our goal was a needs-based budget. So this stuff that's being cut out of the budget tonight was needed, but we are prolonging it 1 extra year and putting stuff on the back burner to do for another year. So in wastewater, it's part-time wages of $29,618. Looked at overtime, $32,000. Electric, about $50,000 we could think. Chemicals, $30,000. Bulking agents, $60,000. Now bulking agents, if you remember, we use that for our compost.
Right.
So we're thinking that this year, to do a little bit of a pre-buy, so we have a stockpile to help us get through next year. We're looking at maintenance of equipment and machinery. We figured $24,000. The reason why is because we just put $32 million into the plant and a lot of our pump stations. So we felt that those items would be under warranty for at least another year. So we felt pretty confident in decreasing that. Some education and training. We increased other, and that was a formula related looking at this. System review. We were looking at a system review throughout the sewer system. We found that in 2 places in the budget, so we were able to decrease it by $22,500. Equipment, $42,000. Health insurance. Now, we looked at our mix. Not that we got a better rate, but we just looked at our mix as of March. And the way our mix played out was that we had about a $300 savings per individual. We do a mix. We take all the employees, we put them on a spreadsheet, whether they have a family plan, single plan, 2-person plan, and we look through at what our mix is, and then we do an average across the whole town. So that even if the employee is single, we still charge $23,000 off to that department because we do an averaging throughout everybody. So we're not, when a person leaves, if they're a single plan, the reason why we do this, if I leave and I am on a single plan, the person that comes and replaces me might be on a family plan, and it would cause the department to be in a deficit. So we do an average across the board. So we were able to lower that $300 per covered lives. We have 206 covered lives throughout the town. covered lives for employees, not covered lives, meaning spouses and children, but 206 employees that we have on the health insurance. So that totals $292,604. Media, we looked at the equipment for media, and the bulk of that is looking at the head end. What do we really need to survive and limp through another year? Nick said he could do it, and that's a $70,000 reduction. We have some other outside services for $750, dues for $2,000, and in his department was $900 savings for health insurance. Comes up with $73,650. We asked library to help out as well and flatline the library from one year to the next, and that's $19,841. They did that by a mix of wages and hours for their part-time individuals and some library materials. Fire details and police details, we flatlined those from 2024-25. Comes up with $431,713 of savings.
Paul, I'm just curious, at the $50,000 electricity savings with wastewater, how did that materialize?
We looked at it, and we have upgraded some of the equipment. One of the big draws is that at our compost facility, we had to put, because of the air changes by DES and EPA, we had some of these blowers that are just blowing constantly. We're looking to get some variable drives on them so that we can bring it back down to get the airflows that we need, because it's a constant air stream. So by putting VFDs on some of our equipment, we were able to think that we would be able to save some $50,000.
Great, thank you.
And remember, compost uses a lot of electricity and a lot of natural gas, because you got to get the machinery to get the compost through to dry it out with the fans, the blowers, and things of that sort. And then the natural gas helps heat it to keep it at a certain temperature. So that's one of the areas we can save.
I think it's important to note that that's also a revenue source for us.
Compost is, yes, and we did not want, that's why we're looking at pre-buying the $60,000 of bulking agent this year and for next year.
But there might be some thoughts about why don't we just stop compost?
Right.
The point is that that's also a revenue
source.
stream.
And remember, wastewater treatment center is a user fee, and we have one of the 10 lowest costs in our facility for a user fee. So even with the bond that's come out, we still have a very low cost, and I believe it's roughly around $340 a year for sewer, to have sewer. Then we looked at capital. So where are our capital adjustments that we can be made? Communications, the tower project. We've been talking about the 800 megahertz system tower. We have a federal grant. We have worked diligently. Deputy Chief Tarleton has worked diligently with our consultant to try to get the federal grant that we had to include the erection of the tower. We believe that the cost will be covered by the federal government now, because we have done all their studies, we have met all their NEPA requirements and everything else. So we are hoping that that goes. So I was able to remove this from the budget. Remember, this was an offsetting revenue as well in the budget, because we have this money set aside from the New Hampshire Housing Grant by the project that occurred on Twid Bridge Road. So if, in fact, the tower construction is not covered by this federal grant, we can come back in front of the council and talk to the council about putting this back in and using that grant money that we received from the state housing, which is, towns and cities can use it for whatever they deem needed be. We looked at the fiber projects, the highway. That was a fiber project, town hall to the highway garage. We're going to continue the way we do it. In addition, this fiber project is going to pick up the tower. Well, we're hoping that the tower gets built, but because of these, is it the spotted or the striped turtle now?
Blanded and striped.
Blanded and striped turtle is one of the NHDES's environmental protections, and we cannot construct from the months of May 15th to October 15th. So we're in a last final process of getting something approved by the EPA. We do not believe that we're going to start construction by May 15th, because we would have to stop, and we'd have to have a biologist on site every day, 8 to 10 hours a day while construction, because if they see a turtle, we have to stop. So we're believing that with this fiber project, we will increase our cost once it comes online for about 6 months. We believe around December, January might come online. We'll just have to, with our current provider, we'll just have to increase it for that time until the following year, 26, 27, to get the fiber project started and completed. A brine sprayer, we're going to more, not economic, but environmental. Thank you. It's been a long week, I'm sorry. We've been at this for a long time, but we're going to more environmental on some of our brine spraying. Instead of using salt, we're going out with brine, so we're looking at brine sprayer. That's backed out for this year. We do have one. We'll continue to use it next winter. A grapple hook was put on our excavator. We're going to do without this year for a while, and if we need it, we're going to rent it. That's $22,500. Garage doors, we're in the project. Remember when we upgraded the facility, we had the old facility that we're using for storage. Some of the garage doors were not upgraded. We were planning on doing a garage door a year. We're putting that off for another year. This will be the second year we put that off, but we believe that we'll limp through and repair what we have and save money that way, $12,000. Paving, I want to get back to paving later on to explain why it's $144,000 to the council. Remember, we're going to do internal plowing of the grounds. We're bringing back our plowing services for our parking lots here at Town Hall, John O'Leary Community Center, library, and some of the fire department's aprons. We were going to buy a truck to help us plow. We have a 1-ton truck. Once again, we're going to limp that through next year to hopefully it makes it through the winter, and we'll see where we stand at the end of next year. And then community development master plan. That's supposed to be recommended to be done every 10 years. We're postponing that for a second year in a row. And once again, that was offset by revenue. That was offset by fund balance. So we're offsetting that for another year. That will be year 13 or 14 for the master plan that we're currently under. So we definitely need to bring that up in the future. That's $1,013,623. Personal service and adjustments. I would like to say that I've talked to everybody who's affected except one individual. I tried calling that individual twice and did not receive an answer. But I have personally talked to everybody who's affected with the personal changes that we're showing here. Overtime in the fire department, $37,649. A staffing mix. We had some staffing turnover since we put the budget together in January. A couple of our master firefighters and a master paramedic have left. We replaced those positions at starting pay, so that's where we got some savings in the mix of $57,000. We looked at all our part-time individuals throughout town, and except for an exception, maybe 1 or 2 part-time people, everybody's part-time hours were reduced. So we looked at the part-time EMS and EMS attendants and the fire inspector and the EMS coordinator position. And basically we looked at what we needed and we reduced the hours down in those 3 categories. That was a $32,000 savings. Police, we have 5 openings. I have 3 conditional offers out to 3 patrolmen to start the academy later on this summer. I have 2 other positions that will be in the fall. Academy is around the winter time frame, so we'll bring those other 2 in the fall, and what we'll do is we reduce the number of hiring weeks that we'd have to pay them, and by delaying the hiring to the end of the fall, and insurances now, these are fully loaded costs. So when I say overtime at $37,000, it's overtime, New Hampshire retirement, workers' comp. When I'm talking about part-time individual and Social Security or Medicare, depending. When I'm talking about delaying the hiring practices for police, that includes New Hampshire retirement, health insurance, life insurance, dental insurance, all the insurances as well. So the cost savings was $61,000. And then overtime, $13,000. And then the crossing guards. We've had crossing guards in the budget for a number of years now. The last several years, we found it very hard to find people who want to be crossing guards. This does not affect our crossing guard that sits at the end of Amherst and Turkey Hill Road. That position was not affected with this crossing guards of $26,328. We just felt that we haven't been able to fill the position. It's been vacant now for over 2 years. 2 of them have been vacant now for over 2 years. It's time that maybe we just cut the positions and have a $26,000 savings because we're in default. That was something that we will be talking to the school about, telling them that the 2 of the schools will not have crossing guards this year. We've been covering the crossing guards this year with overtime, police overtime as well. So we're looking at reducing that $26,000. We had a part-time dispatcher vacancy that became available just recently, and talking to the police chief, he said my dispatchers, now that I have all my full-time dispatchers and I have my on-call division, I do not need this part-time dispatch position for $33,500. We have an equipment operator 1 in Highway 87297, fully loaded, and that position became also vacant just recently. And while it's a need for the town, we're in default, and that was an extra position added to the highway department a couple of years ago. So we removed that. And then summer help, same situation as crossing guards. Finding it very hard to hire summer help, that, you know, the maintainers that come in and cut lawns and help out within the highway department. So we reduced it from the number of 4 to 2, and that's a savings for that. Solid waste, some hours reduction there. Parks and Rec, the part-time positions. The big part-time position is the day attendants down at Camp Natticook. We removed them from the budget. So there will not be any day attendance on the weekends down at Camp Natticook. If there's an issue, people will have to call the police department, and the police department will get down there to resolve the issue. Community development, reorg and wages. Let me go to various health insurance. The savings with the general fund was $55,200. The reorg and community development, when looking at what is needed, we just hired a new full-time position down there, assistant planning position. When we looked at it, we could reorg, and sad to say that this is the one full-time position that was cut from the budget. So, like I said, Sharon, myself, talked to every one of the individuals that was affected, but by doing this reorg of the position, reducing the full-time position and increasing a couple of part-time positions hours, we feel, Robert, Community Development Director, felt that he could make it work in his department. Appreciate Robert coming to the table, as well as every one of my departments, police, fire, communications, highway, solid waste. They all came to the table and offered up suggested cuts. And that was one that, by looking at, deep dive, and every department head did this, a deep dive into the department. So that was a $69,000 savings for $501,535. Then we looked at all other costs, and as you can see, every department gave something or is doing with less. We looked at the audit that we have yearly. That was $4,000 savings. Elections, $8,000. We put $8,000 in because of the tablets for the handicap that we needed for visual aid and things of that sort. We get those for state elections. At the time we put the budget together, there was talk that the state wasn't going to provide them to the town, 3 of them. So we put that in, so we thought we would have to buy them. The state has come back and allowed us to use their tablets. All we have to do is pay for the programming. That's why there's an $8,000 savings in elections. And then tuition, general government, all of general government, not just general government, but any general fund employee that is not in a union can come and get tuition reimbursement. Over the last few years, we haven't had a lot of takers. We've only spent about $5,000, so we reduced that down to what we've been spending of $5,000 from $7,500. Assessing gave up some office equipment and some office supplies for a total of $3,000. Fire looked at their uniforms, their advertising, some of their building stuff. Police looked at education and travel. Communications also looked at operating supplies and chairs. We bought chairs, consoles for the dispatchers this year, so they felt that they could go another year without having to buy them. Code gave up some travel for travels and meetings. DPW admin gave up office equipment. Highway gave up, we were doing the asphalt pile. Once again, we delayed it last year. We're going to delay it again. We were doing $25,000 this year and $25,000 in 26, 27. That's off the table. We'll have to look at doing the full $50,000 in 26, 27 because that pile is growing, and we use that aggregate for shoulder when we do paving roads, shoulder repair. Sand and salt. We have a salt barn, and at the end of every year for the past 10, 15 years that I've been here, maybe even longer, maybe 20 years, that salt barn is always filled at the end of this plowing season, so we start the next year with a full salt and sand barn. We are at that point again. We felt the $8,800 cut to the sand and salt would not affect us having proper amount of aggregate to put on the roads during winter the following year because we are starting off with a full sand and salt barn. Solid waste, like I said, every cut was on the table. $250 cut here in solid waste to make up the differences. We looked at every line item through the budget, and there's over 1,000 line items in this budget. And we looked at every line item and looked at where we could save, wherever we could save, and it was $250. Looked at Parks and Rec again with the John O'Leary Adult Community Center. I talked to them today and told them we were flatlining their budget, and they said, whatever you need, we're here for you, we'll make it work. So I appreciate them stepping up to the plate. Town clerk tax collector, once again, there was a miscellaneous adjustment in some equipment for about $8,500. And then welfare came in and said, looking at where I'm at this year and moving forward, $15,000 reduction in housing, electric, 1,100 vehicles, 75, food 250, and 500. And the only reason why she felt comfortable with making these changes is because Merrimack Friends and Family and what they do for us and give us a donation every year. And they gave us a couple donations over the last couple of years, so we do have some money set aside that if we do need it, that's there to help out people in need for food, electricity, heating, and housing. So that totals $108,503. I want to go back to this slide right here where we broke everything out. And you'll see that we totaled $2,055,374. I couldn't have made it without reducing paving of $144,123. So that means some of the roads that we had planned to pave this year will not be paved. Be another year. We're going to have to patch some roads. It's not ideal, but we'll get through. Those are my proposed cuts. We've also talked about some other things throughout the whole budget process. Talked about, like I said, a big chunk of our money was $153,000 for solid waste. We talked to solid waste about private haulers coming in and out. Looked into that. Looked at what they're producing versus what, but that's once again offset by revenue. Whatever they bring in, they're paying to dump at our facility, and we're moving it to our waste management site, our burn facility. So we looked into that. We looked at hours of operations across the board for wastewater. Looked at Thursday night extended hours. While there is some overtime there, it wasn't quantitative because it's all wrapped up in the overtime figure that solid waste does during the year. So I couldn't just pull out 3 hours of overtime or 16 hours of overtime for a foreman and an office worker in the overtime budget because it was all wrapped into the hours in overtime. We couldn't quantitative it. And the other thing is, as we talked about several times with the overtime for solid waste, is that when a solid waste employee takes a Saturday off, if we have to call in another employee from another division to fill that position, it's 100% overtime. Solid waste works from Tuesday to Saturday. Our other divisions work from Monday through Friday. So if they come in on a Saturday, they already have their 40 hours. On Saturday, we have to pay them the 8 hours. So that's all wrapped into that and the overtime number. And, if you remember, we've always looked at that it never fully funded the solid waste overtime number because of those factors, that a lot of the overtime money does come from those people working on Saturday. So we have covered overtime that is needed for the facility. But it's kind of hard to quantitate the extra couple, what is it, 2.5 hours, Chris? 3 hours. 3 hours on Thursday nights for the summer to quantitate a savings in the budget because of the way the overtime budget for solid waste works. Looked at, a bunch of different things. And actually, we will be bringing back later on, once we've had time more to study maybe hours of operations at the solid waste facility, which would not be a savings, but it would help out our individuals, our employees at solid waste.
All right. Paul's looking for direction, guidance. Does anybody have something they'd like to consider other than the list that he's given us this evening, or is everybody happy with the list, or so to speak?
I'm sure we're not
Happy
happy.
is not the correct term.
Peter.
I just,
Oh,
go ahead, Peter.
No, Paul, I appreciate the work you and the department heads have done. It's not easy 2 years in a row, and you guys have found it, and we didn't have to lose a lot of people, some hours got cut and so forth. So my hat's off to you and all the department heads.
Thank you. There have been 10 to 11 affected lives by cutting those hours in that one position. So doesn't go without. Thank you for those words.
I just have a question about the master plan.
Yes.
It's not required in terms of time, but it's recommended, right?
Correct.
Okay, what is the recommended?
Recommended is every 5 to 10 years.
And we've been,
13.
okay.
The master plan gives the planning board guidance of how we want to see things done. So for instance, in the master plan, we had mixed use that the council put a freeze on. That was in the master plan. And that would be something that we'd bring back up in the master plan to redefine
That
what
was
mixed
part
use
of that
is.
definition,
But
yeah.
it gives the planning board direction of a guide, a map of how we would like to see this community, how the council would like to see this community. Because the master plan isn't just done by community development, town manager, it's town council, planning board, members from the public.
Community.
The community comes in. There's meetings, there's public hearings to take input from the community, and it gets put together as a community master plan of this is how we want to see the town grow and what can basically be built and not built in the
And
community.
it takes a good year and a half to actually develop it, is that right?
Yeah, I think the last master plan, I was acting town manager before Eileen got here, and I think it was, she came in 2011, I think it was 2013 before it was finally approved and voted in,
Actually, right,
Yeah.
okay.
acted on.
So the reality is, if it goes to the next year, it'll be 15, 16 years.
It could be, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. However, we continue with the old master plan.
Right. The other thing, I just want to make a comment. I agree. I mean, as you mentioned, Finley, paving is a gut-wrenching thing because we've been trying to increase the paving over years because we want to enhance maintenance of the roads. Now we're cutting back, but it is what it is. One of the things I want to make a comment about is I'm glad I think there's concern with the public that sometimes cuts will be made to make it appear to hurt. We're going to make sure we do some silly cuts to be able to make sure that the public feels it. That is not present in this budget, and I'm glad to see that.
Nope.
So thank you.
And, just one, to that point, Councilor Harrington, we looked at the parades. We looked at the 4th of July. Town pays for the fireworks and the parade. That's it. Rotary puts on the pancake breakfast. The road race is put on by somebody else outside of town. We pay for the fireworks and the parade, for the 4th of July parade. For the Christmas parade, we have to pay a fee because we have to pay Santa Claus's travel to come to the parade because he's a very busy man. So we have to pay his travel. But that's only $1,200. That's it. This budget that was presented to the council, 0.56% is personal service dollars.
Right.
So it isn't like I can cut a lot of all other out of this budget. We looked at the movie nights. Matt has taken that, shrunk that down. Those are sponsored. We get sponsors for that. Summer's concert series in the park, we get sponsors. Those are sponsored. In the state of New Hampshire, you have to gross appropriate. And for those that don't understand what gross appropriate is that whatever it's going to cost to put it on, I have to put in my budget, even though I have revenue from the outside. So if I was a private industry and I'm doing a concert and it's $5,000 in this hand, and I got a sponsor and he wants to give me $5,000, it shows as a zero as my expense. In the state of New Hampshire, you have to gross appropriate, so I have to put that as $5,000 on my appropriation side. And I have to spend that $5,000 on my appropriation side, and then I have an offsetting revenue that comes in for $5,000. So it really doesn't cost the town anything, but because of the budget that I have to hit $40 million, 808, I should have this ingrained in my mind by now, $808,242, we looked at these things. And we looked at some, and that's one of the things we looked at, self-supporting funds too. They're offset by revenue. However, even though they're offset by revenue, I have to include them on the appropriation side. So the $40 million is the target number that we have to hit for our appropriations. But we did look at this. We did have talks about the summer hours, the 4th of July Midway. We haven't had the Midway for years. The Rotary used to put that on. We used to give the Rotary a little seed money so they could get vendors. They stopped doing that 3 or 4 years ago now. So we stopped doing that, so we don't pay that. Instead of that, we've heard from the public at the time, we want better fireworks. We want more bands in the parade. We took that $10,000, we dispersed it between the two. So our 4th of July for the town of Merrimack cost us $40,000. $20,000 roughly, maybe $22,000 for fireworks, and the rest goes towards bands in the parade, to get bands in the parade. Well, you should get bands that want to come for nothing. A lot of these bands aren't going to give up their time to come march in the town of Merrimack's parade. They're small amounts. I think one of the biggest bands we paid $3,500 for to be in our parade, to march in our parade. So it's not like we're paying tens of thousands, $100,000 to have these bands come and perform. And we talked about that, Matt and I. And I know I'm rambling a little bit about this, but the one thing that really, I've been in town since 1976. The one thing that always brought this community together was the 4th of July. It's always been a big event in the town of Merrimack since I've been here since '76. I can remember the Midway as a kid. I can remember the Knights of Columbus doing the chicken barbecue, the whole 9 yards. But it always was the town came together. The town always came together for the parade, for the fireworks. Everybody came together for that. And yeah, looking at the budget, that's one of the items that I felt as a resident and as the town manager that really that would be one of these things that I'm throwing out there just to hurt somebody, to your point. I didn't want to do that. So we talked about a lot of things. There were more cuts that some of the departments came up with, and I said, thank you for the idea, but no, we don't want to go down that road right now. So,
Well, it's like even like as you mentioned, the Thursday evenings.
Mhm.
That easily could have been cut.
Yeah.
But we also know how many residents utilize that during the summer.
Right.
So that's one of the examples that I was thinking, that is easy, low-hanging fruit we could have taken. Now, the reality is we're going to be criticized anyway. There will be people who would have preferred that we take out the Thursday evening, that we take out the parade and the fireworks. I guess that's a judgment this council has to make. Personally, I think it's worth it.
And one of the other topics, you talked about Thursday, we talked about Thursday. We didn't go down here, but, some people during the summer go away over the weekend, and now their trash is sitting there at their house Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. During the summer, we know what happens when you leave trash outside. So it's also a health issue. So it wasn't a lot of money to keep it in the budget, is I guess what I'm saying.
Jennifer?
Did you talk about at all maybe cutting out the bands or cutting back on the bands in the parade? Because that's $20,000. I'm curious what you could use that towards. Like, is there something else we could not cut? Where I want people to appreciate that this is, you're rattling off numbers, but those affect people's lives. There are cuts to people's hours, and there's somebody losing a job, so.
Honestly, if we had the $20,000, we'd go back to paving, and we don't get that much paving for $20,000, to be perfectly honest with you. And Matt, how many bands do we have in the parade?
9.
So 9 bands. How many bands did we have 3 years ago? So we only increased bands 3 years for the same amount of money.
And Matt did point out at a
Thank you,
previous
Matt.
conversation.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
That if you cut them loose, you might not get them back because other communities want them, but because they are here, it's kind of right of first refusal, I guess, so.
Right, and remember, next year's a big event for
Yeah.
the country.
250th, yeah.
For the country. So if we cut a band loose, we're not gonna get the band next year. If we cut the fireworks company loose, we're definitely not getting them back
Yeah,
next year. Matter of
right.
fact, I had to sign a 3-year contract last year just to guarantee that we could have our fireworks on the 4th of July in 2026. 26.
Well, the paving one, as I had mentioned previously, is a big one for me. I'm not whimpering about it because of what we have to go through in order to get to the magic number, so.
But it has a consequence in terms of the quality of our streets.
Right, it surely does, and because we're already behind in our maintenance of what we've allocated for funds to take care of the roads, we're getting behind every year. It doesn't help, but it's, so we'll see how things go forward, I suppose, but, so Peter?
And one of the things, 2 weeks ago, Nancy asked our citizens for feedback, for help with this. Apparently, everyone was concerned. And I've only seen 2 letters. I don't know if there's anybody else received more, but that's all I've seen is 2 letters from people offering
I
construction.
received an email related to reviewing the recycling versus trash economy, and I responded that we had in fact already looked into that, but we would continue to keep that in
So,
the forefront.
yeah, so very little feedback.
Until today, I got this one. I don't know when it was put in my box.
That letter?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was
Was
the
it
same
today?
letter, yeah. Or the other day. It should be stamped received on it.
it is.
23rd.
23rd, yeah.
So just recently.
But
And
the
I-
only other one I got was from an individual who said they didn't see any problem with our proposed budget, but understand that some people are being impacted to where it hurts them a bit, and so wished us kind of well in our endeavors trying to make this happen.
And honestly, I did get a lot of those messages myself through personal emails and things, wishing the council well in the endeavors and,
What I
But we
would-
have to do it. Like I said, the residents of Merrimack spoke. It's their wishes to cut $2,055,374 from the town council budget. It was presented at deliberative session. And I think that my department heads and myself have made a conscious effort to look into this and cut where we feel the cuts would be, while not ideal, but
Yeah,
we could live within this budget.
One of the things I would like to suggest, that pie, you know how we send during our tax bills?
Yes?
We send out that whole ratio of where your tax goes to. I think that pie should be included.
We can now. Honestly, I was at a conference for a day, and there was a gentleman from Arlington, and they showed the clip, and he actually baked the pie.
Oh, yeah.
He actually was baking a pie, and he would take a cup and say, "This is your police department. Take something. This is your water department. This is your crack and egg. This is your general government." And when I came back from that conference, I talked to Nick and his crew, something we're going to do next year on the TV, maybe not bake a pie, because
But to be able to
be able to
accentuate.
accentuate what it is, and we're working on that as part of our
And that's one of the,
communications
yeah.
for going forward. But I think that idea came to me and it's like, okay, let's put a picture. A picture is
Yeah,
1,000 words.
visual.
And actually, Sharon came up and said, what about, this? What about that? When I showed her just the raw data, and I said, I got to do something with this raw data. And I said, bar graph, but the pie really made sense. Because if you could look at that, once again, if I could bring that up, page up, not page down.
Speaking of the devil.
If you look at that, 44%, roughly, 45% of the budget, if you take the line, is police and fire.
Yeah.
And what's police and fire? A lot of services, a lot of personnel in those two divisions. Highway, a lot of personnel, a lot of services. Those are our big, and the reason why highway is so much too, is our roads are in highway. So, but if you take DPW as a whole, it's 3/4 of that pie. And everything else is the last 25%. So 75% would be between police, fire, and all DPW. All DPW includes equipment maintenance, building and grounds, solid waste, highway, public works administration. So it's
Paul,
quite telling.
To offer you direction, you need a vote on,
What I would like is for the council to move the cuts that were suggested by the town manager tonight, and Paul can get on putting that into the budget calculations and budget sheets and get that up to DRA for next year's budget.
so it's a pleasure.
Go for it.
Peter?
Just say so moved.
So moved.
So Peter's moving your proposed
Adjustments to the
adjustments.
budgets, to town council budget.
I'll second.
Second by Tom Thornton. Any further discussion? Call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 6-0-0.
Thank you.
Paul.
Just to finalize, I only have one other comment. I know one of the letters we received had to do with communicating in more detail next year. I know that we have extensive budget meetings. It's all televised, all that kind of thing, but maybe we do have to do a series where we explain the budget in more detail to have it looped and played over and over.
Right.
So
And
that's something we could consider.
where's Nick? I know Nick's here. He's not out in the audience. Nick's listening in the background.
Oh, I'm
I
sure
know-
he would.
I know Nick's already written that down and is going to keep that as a tickler because, that's another thing is how do we get the message
could do
out there?
that.
It's
Yeah.
part of that communication piece that Councilor Jobin has talked about.
That's right.
At the retreats and things of that sort. Once again, I do want to thank my department heads. I want to thank my senior staff. Without them, this would have been a monumentous task, and without their help, we met for 2-3 days just to go over this stuff and really think about it, and without them, it would have been a much harder task, and I appreciate all the efforts that they put into this as well.
And also the employees.
And the employees, one last thing, even though I was talking to all the employees and looking them in the face, I was impressed by the response. A lot of them said, you're in a tough position, we understand. The people have spoken, we understand.
Good.
A lot of them, so.
Good.
Well, thanks to your staff for being here, for our staff for being here this evening. We
Yeah.
appreciate everything.
No.
Tough time.
And,
but we'll
and
make
like
it-
I said, they're here because we're presenting this as a group. I'm the spokesperson right now for them, but we presented this as a group, and we're all behind these adjustments. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Good. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody. You did all the hard work for us.
Truly.
Yeah, you don't want to stay here?
All right. I'm going to give it Paul just a second.
Exactly, that's what I think. That's what I said.
All right, I'll continue for the moment. The second item,
Shall we move on?
second item under old business is council to consider the request to withdraw and expend up to $379,890 from the minor solid waste capital reserve fund for the purchase of a new loader for the Public Works Solid Waste Division. And before we do that, we'd like a 5-minute recess. Yep, thank you.
A five- How you doing?
We'll come out of recess. I think he's all set. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just once again reiterate the item we're going to be talking about. It's a withdrawal request from the minor solid waste disposal capital reserve fund for the purchase of a new loader. And go ahead.
And I just want one correction. Should have caught it earlier. We just have capital reserve funds. We don't have major capital reserve funds and minor capital
Well, that's the
reserve
first time I've
funds.
seen it.
Yeah, it's just capital reserve funds. So for anybody that's confused, it's just a capital reserve fund. When we put this together, I didn't catch the word minor, but it's coming out of the solid waste capital reserve
Right.
fund.
Good evening.
That was my error, sorry.
Oh.
Because we have minor plans and major plans, and I just took the minor and major, so anyway.
Wonderful.
We would like to replace the 2014 John Deere, is it John Deere?
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. It has over 16,000 hours. We've been told that after 14,000 hours, things start to happen, which they are starting to happen. We're limping it along. But we would like to purchase another John Deere for a total of $379,890. And we've eliminated the attachment that we would have liked a sweeper to be able to help keep the area clean. But we eliminated that because of the budgets and whatnot.
Exactly.
Restraints. So that's what we're asking for. And we want to go with the John Deere because we have other attachments that we can attach to it. Snow plows and grapples and other buckets that do different things and whatnot. So that's our request for tonight.
My concern is you've already addressed was whether or not these My concern was whether or not these attachments would fit, and so I'm glad that they will.
That's why we went with this, because otherwise we'd have to buy other attachments, and we don't want to buy more
Right.
attachments.
Yeah, because it was a question of whether or not they would. And we just-
So we've had very good luck with John Deere
Yeah.
at all our facilities.
Peter?
Dawn, and I know you explained in your letter, but for the viewers, I see that there is a lower bid, but you explained why you didn't go with that. Could you explain for the folks that might be watching?
I can actually take that.
Okay, Paul.
Looking at, the two lower units below John Deere, we have not had good luck with those two companies and equipment. We used to have one of the loaders at solid waste, and it was always broken and very hard to get parts. And we used to have another piece of equipment from one of the companies down at Highway, and the same thing, it was always broken. So in looking at it, we decided to go with our John Deere. Like I said, we've had great luck with John Deere's. We had them at solid waste, we had them at wastewater, we have them down at the highway garage. Parts are readily available for them. If there is a problem, their service team will come out almost within days, where other companies, we'll get to it. So that's why we went with the John Deere. Yes, it is a little more expensive. However, if we went with some of those lower end ones, we'd have to buy the 2 snow plows. We'd have to buy the grapple hook. We'd have to buy the forks because they wouldn't fit that piece of equipment. So in all reality, the John Deere, when you add those components in, is cheaper than the other units as well.
And I appreciate that, and I think it's a good explanation. And out of fairness too, I noticed that there were higher bids as well. We didn't go with the high bid.
Right. And one of the high bids, we use at another facility. And, we'd love to have gone with them. We actually have, the 2 high bids, we have them in other facilities in town. One is at solid waste and one is, in wastewater. And we'd love to have gone with them, but once again, that is just to get the machine here. Then we have to do the plows, the grapple hooks, the forks, the buckets, everything else. So those costs would just be even more expensive, so.
And again, I like to explain some things for the people listening. This is money that's been put aside already. And we all know that, but some folks don't understand that, and they just saw us talk about budget cuts and so forth. So this is money that's put aside, so thank you.
It's out of the savings accounts, basically, where that is. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that we also looked at the trade-in values. We got more for this than we did for the other 2 that were lower.
Thank you.
And then lastly, on this thing, this is the sign of the times. Because I know people are swallowing quite hard at $379,000 for a loader. This isn't, you need solid rubber tires because you're running over glass, nails, everything else at the transfer station. You need a high boom because you got to get up and over some of the equipment and some of the walls, so you need a high boom on it. So this isn't, the loader that's loading mulch. This has some extra features that we do need here, and just those tires alone, Chris, we replaced them, couple of years, not on this machine, but one of the other machines, what are they, $30,000, $40,000?
Between installation and the tires themselves is around $25,000, $30,000.
Yeah, $25,000, $30,000 just for these tires. So they're not rubber tires. It's not $15,000 for a set of tires. It's expensive. So they brought it to me and I gasped.
Take a look at the tires when you,
Right.
next time you go to the recycling
So
center.
I want the people at
See.
home to know it too, because they're like, oh, I can buy one. This is a specialized piece of equipment with specialized tires, a specialized boom on it, a bigger bucket than most. What's it, 5 or 10?
Yep, 5.
5-yard bucket.
It's got plating, protective cabs.
Protective cabs, everything on them. And we don't buy them decked out either. We're not buying them. If it doesn't come stock, we're not putting it in there. So if a radio comes in it, if you see the radio or you see the air conditioner, that's stock in the unit. We didn't ask for that. That's a stock unit. So we're trying to keep the cost down as much as possible, but it is an expensive piece of equipment, and it's a piece of equipment that's needed. They do handle about 10 to 12,000 tons of trash with these two machines that are in that transfer station.
All right. Does anybody have any further questions, comments, motions?
I'll make a motion to approve the withdrawal and expenditure of up to $379,890 from the Solid Waste Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of a new loader for the Public Works Solid Waste Division, and to authorize the town manager to sign any paperwork.
Second.
Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Nancy Murphy. Any further discussion? Call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained, 600. Thanks, guys. Okay, next, item 3 is the council discuss when and where their retreat/goals session will be held. Have you got any,
I don't have any, excuse me. I don't have any dates. I do have a couple weeks that are bad. End of May, May 25th through June 6th is bad. So those 2 weeks are bad.
When did we do it last year? Do you remember?
It was in
It's in
June.
June.
It was in June. It was towards the end of June. The 12th and 26th of June, we have council meetings, so that would leave June 19th. The 16th is bad because the place we normally go is not open on Mondays, and there's an extra service charge for us to be there on a Monday. Tuesday through Friday, and that's going to be very tough for Nancy as I see her moving over here, because I just realized June 30th is when all the bills need to be completed up in Concord. So, go ahead. Sorry.
I would just, thank you to Paul's point about Monday. We don't have very much notice about when we're scheduled, and we will be getting down to the end of things. So Mondays and Tuesdays are the best days, the days that I'm most likely to be able to be there. So, but if they're closed on Mondays,
Right.
So
Tuesdays would be really the best for me.
So we can look at the 17th, 24th, or July 1st?
17th is not good for me.
Me neither. That's it.
and the 19th through 19th and
24th is
20th is
fine
not
with
good.
me.
24th, I'm good too.
24th of July 1st? I got to give a couple dates there to my gentleman. Who's the
Both.
gentleman?
Who's the who?
Our leader, so to speak. We bring in from Primex, they give us a gentleman who comes in and facilitates the meeting and talks about it. We've changed it since you've been on the council. We actually do a complete goal setting now.
Oh, we do?
The town.
You mean we're organized?
Yeah,
You always are nice.
it isn't a book. I don't put together a binder and give it to the council to go over stuff where we get through like 6 things and then everything else gets put on order.
Right.
We come up with, and I'll ask this as time gets closer, goals for the council. Everybody will have to come with 3 goals. Last year, one of the goals came up was communication. Another one from Councilor Hunter and a couple other councilors. It was try to keep the budget all other within 2% and increase our revenues, which we did. And then, so we looked at that, and there's another one for looking at committees and things of that sort. And to be perfectly honest with you, we haven't started that process yet. That's something that the council put on the council chair and myself to do. We just have to get together and start looking at it. Yeah, yes, that's actually on the sign-up sheet this year. But that's something that we have to do. So we came up with 3 goals for the council to do. And when we get together, we'll look at maybe expanding those goals. What's the next step in those goals? So from what I hear, now that everybody was able to check their phone, I talked long enough, either the 24th of June or the 1st of July.
I mean, personally, I don't have a plan, but July 1st, that's
That's
for vacation.
holiday week.
But I don't have a problem, but
I'm good on the 24th.
I'll see if he's available on the 24th, and if not, I'll ask him for another date that is on a Tuesday. So what about June 10th? I like to give the guy a couple
I'm
of
okay
dates.
with June 10th.
Yep, I'm sorry.
I don't have my phone, so I feel lost right now, but I think that would work for me as well.
Let me know. I'll plan. I'm going to reach out on Monday to him, So let me know tomorrow or by Monday morning, and I'll reach out to them 10th or 24th. And we'll reach out to, I take it we're still going to have it at the same place we have it. So we'll reach out to them
It's worked out
and
nice.
see if we can reserve either the 10th or 24th of June.
Can we ask for the 24th to be our first choice? and
Yes,
the
I'll
10th?
make the 24th our first choice.
There. Thank you.
24th,
Thank you.
and then second is the 10th. And I'm sure that one of those days will work for him. He's not coaching baseball this year. His kid's old enough, I guess. So we should be good. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Next, item 4 is council committee assignments.
So we have the first two.
All right. And the third one's not required, but Mackenzie stepped down from that, and I picked it up. It's once a month, generally. So unless somebody wants it, I can continue to do that.
Okay.
Nancy Murphy, you do the commission,
The commission, yes. 2 of them.
and Jen, you were on conservation?
Yep.
You just want to continue?
That's fine.
Heritage was Finley.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're doing.
We're having a hard time getting members.
Yeah,
They are. We lost 2 members last year
yeah.
due to death. They passed away. So we're having a hard time trying to get members for that Heritage. So,
Yeah, I'll stick with it, yes.
we know the next one.
Yes, I mean, that one goes without saying. Sorry, guys. I know you're all envious and really want it, but I won't relinquish. Merrimack Youth, Nancy, was that you?
Well, and
I'll
Tom-
take it from Nancy if she wants
Okay,
to
yep.
give it up.
PT, National Regional Planning Commission. Who's doing
Tom Koenig did it last year only because he felt that it was he's been doing it for so long because he was on the planning board. I guess it would be either Peter or whoever's going to be the alternate.
It's a
would be on
quarterly
that.
meeting, is it
It's,
not?
yeah, it's a quarterly meeting. It's at night.
I'll do it.
You're okay, Peter.
Job, Peter.
I'll never let anybody.
The
talk
pressure
about
here is
you again.
incredible, okay?
The next one, to be perfectly honest with you, the rail trail, I don't think they've had, I get an email every now and then from them, but I don't even know.
Do we have to have it on there?
It's only because we should have somebody on there in case they bring back the commuter rail from Manchester to Lowell or Boston. So we should have somebody, because it will come through Merrimack, so we should have somebody on that
I
committee.
thought the National Regional Planning Commission was involved in that.
Yeah, but the rail trail is specific for the
It's
railroad.
not a rail
Why do we
trail,
have
it's
to
the
have-
Transit Authority.
Yeah, rail transit authority, sorry, rail trail.
Yeah.
It's
How would
the
we
trail,
find
the
out-
train tracks through.
How would
Right.
we find out that it's being reinstituted?
Um,
Would you be?
I would learn about it, and actually, I get messages every now and then from a company that's, says go
So
rail.
why wouldn't we just leave it? If it activates, we'll decide then.
We'll be reactive instead of proactive.
It's up to you. You could put somebody's name down there, they're just never gonna meet,
Just put my name.
Kind of like the ethics
okay?
committee.
Tom Thornton says he'll do the
Well, if
transit
that
authority.
comes up and
Train
we're,
that when they ever
and
come
we're
by.
having a rail transit system come through, Tom better have answers for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Parks and Rec.
I really,
Mackenzie?
That's Mackenzie.
Oh, yeah, that's right, she definitely wanted Mackenzie to come back.
I don't know, you could, it's up for
She's
grabs,
not here.
nobody's here.
Volunteer her for something
No, I was
else.
gonna stick her on planning boards because she wasn't here this evening.
There you
That's
go.
That's a hazard, so,
That's it. We need an alternate.
yeah, and there you go. Who, anybody? Who's dying to be an alternate for the planning board? I'd say, would Mackenzie like that? No, she's busy, so probably not.
Well, you're not allowed to be absent, that's all.
I got rail transit. That's gonna be busy.
I'll do my best. There probably shouldn't be too much on this.
Actually, the other reason why you need a alternate member is the hierarchy of the town council. Goes chairman, vice chairman, then planning board member. So
Right.
if the chair and vice chair have to step aside, then it's the planning board member who would be,
Peter.
be acting chair for the night. So,
that covered.
and that came up last year because I believe, Nancy, you weren't here, Finley was someplace, and we had to have a meeting, and we were like, who's gonna
That's right.
open the meeting? And Tom Koenig said, it is Andy Hunter, he's the next in line. So that's how I found out about it. I got, Tom K, voice from the past.
Yeah. Great guy.
So who's gonna be the
So-
planning board?
I'll do Peter's alternate.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom, because you did that, I'm going to take away your transit authority.
That was my favorite one.
And Town Center Committee,
He's got a
I
train
can
set
stay.
at home.
I
So
can,
I'll do the transit
All right, you
authority.
got that one.
And Tom can do the
and I'll,
alternate.
Perfect.
if somebody wants a Town Center Committee, otherwise I'll keep it at.
It meets, once a month on Fridays at noon?
Fridays at noon time, and it's most months, not all. We skip occasionally here and there. So it's probably 9, 10 meetings a month.
You're not
A
selling
year.
it. You're not selling it.
Oh, no, I don't mind doing it. I don't, so that's not a problem. Not trying to sell, just if somebody was chomping at the bit.
All right, so
right.
can I have a motion to accept the discussion that we just had with these positions?
So moved.
Second.
Tom, second by Nancy Murphy. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 600.
So we'll get this in the sign file for next meeting so that it can be signed off by everybody.
We also need a new picture for the town council.
Yes, we were going to do it tonight, but Ms. Murphy is not present, so we will do it on May 8th. So everybody bring their best attire to it's May 8th. I will keep saying May 8th. I hope it's May 8th.
Which is the next.
May 8th is the next council meeting, so please bring your best attire, and we'll take the picture at the beginning of the,
Bless you.
bless you. We'll either take it at the beginning or the end of the night, depending on,
Hey, after a raucous meeting, might be better to have it first.
yeah,
All right,
okay?
so we're all good? Next on the agenda, we have April 7th and April 10th meeting minutes. The April 7th was the special meeting for the ballot boxes.
Make a motion to accept the April 7th, special meeting minutes.
Second.
We're all good? Excuse me. Okay, all those in favor of the April 7th minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 501, Tom abstaining. The April 10th minutes.
Just found two minor spelling things on page 2, line 29. Halfway through, it says 2 issues brought. The T is missing on brought.
My grandchildren would call me bro.
And then page 3, line 16.
What
after
page,
the-
sorry?
Page 3, line 16, closed is missing a C.
I think we can stop testing Jen now.
I know it. She's my go-to. All right, if there's nothing further, all those in favor of the April 10th minutes? Oh, we haven't. Look at that. I'm trying to rush this meeting now.
I'll make a motion to accept the April 10th minutes as corrected.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Second.
Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Nancy Murphy. All those in favor of the minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 501, Tom Thornton abstained. Comments from the press, public, comments from the council. Jennifer.
I know we had Parks and Rec Committee here earlier. I just wanted to say great job to Parks and Rec staff for pivoting and changing their plans for the Easter egg hunt. I was there for our table, and they did a great job adjusting to the terrible weather and still putting on something for the kids, so.
Yep, no, great, and it was a nice turnout in spite of the weather.
Yeah, decent. I was surprised how many people came out and braved it, because
Yeah.
it was pretty slick out there, so.
We're all set?
Motion to adjourn?
So he's going to be the one.
He's
got his
Motion by
grab now.
Tom, he's seconded by Peter. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained, 600. Thank you, everybody.
Andy always